What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to MANIACITV, man. Today, we got the war in London. Gxng versus 51st from the Hip Hop Daily YouTube channel, man. Now listen, the London scene, that's a scene a couple of y'all actually been telling me to get to for a while, to tap into the rap out there, man. They actually real active with it out there in London. I ain't gonna say that they not. Cause listen, I be seeing the articles and everything, man. These niggas out there just as crazy as the niggas here in the States, man. So we ain't doing no more talking, no. We ain't wasting no more time. Let's get it.
The UK drill scene has exposed the world to all kinds of crimes going on in the streets of London. One of the deadliest beefs is an ongoing war between two gangs in the borough of Camden, Gxng and 51st. Let's take a closer look at what's going on. Camden is an area in North London outside of the Regent's Park. It's considered one of London's most modern neighborhoods, and many famous celebrities live there. But over the past few years, it's become a battleground in a war between two gangs. Unlike the US, London don't have as many large national gangs like the Crips and Bloods. Instead,
and correct me if I'm wrong, but they can't have guns over there either. That's why so many stabbing deaths, because they can't have any guns.
Like the US, London don't have as many large national gangs like the Crips and Bloods. Instead, they have small local gangs that are based in certain neighborhoods and often identify themselves by the local postcode. These gangs are also often tied to the local drill scene, and many include popular rappers as members. The main beef in Camden is between two neighborhood gangs, Gxng and 51st. Gxng is a group made up of primarily Somali immigrants based in the Acre Grove estate in Camden. Several popular drill rappers are part of Gxng, including artists like Suspect, Too Smoky, and T-Scam. They're also allied with other local gangs like FSG, CT1, and NRB. Together, they call themselves 71st. 51st is an alliance of several different groups that are all known to beef with Gxng. They include the Peckwater gang from the Peckwater estate, the QC gang from Queens Crescent, and Cumbo, a gang from the Regent Park estate in Cumberland Market. Together, they're known as 51st because the local postcodes in the area end in 5 and 1. They're larger than Gxng, but both sides have proven to be just as savage. It's not clear exactly where the beef started. Some of them grew up together and were cool before the drama, but at some point, they started having problems and it eventually escalated to violence. According to rumors, it all started over someone getting their watch stolen, but this can't be confirmed. The violence between the two groups started to pop off in the late 2010s. In May 2017, 3 members of 51st were shot by members of Gxng. Camden police officers—
Oh, so they can have guns over there then. I always thought that you couldn't have guns out there in the UK. Okay.
And eventually escalated to violence. According to rumors, it all started over someone getting their watch stolen, but this can't be confirmed. The violence between the two groups started to pop off in the late 2010s. In May 2017, 3 members of 51st were shot by members of Gxng. Camden police officers were called to the scene of a shooting near Camden Road, but found no victims in the area. About 15 minutes later, they got a call from the staff at the University College London Hospital saying 2 men had shown up with gunshot wounds and were being aggressive. Following the shooting, they managed to run to a nearby hospital to get treatment, but when they arrived, the staff got suspicious and called the cops. Police came to the hospital to investigate, but when the 2 victims realized what was going on, they refused treatment and tried to flee. They was eventually arrested after a brief chase on foot. Another team was also later arrested in connection with the shooting and also refused treatment. All 3 were later charged with suspicion of causing grievous bodily harm with intent for their involvement in the shooting. Not long after—
Nigga, can you imagine getting shot and saying, "No, I'm good, I'm about to go home"? Shit, I don't blame these niggas though, man. I don't blame them. Cause shit, if you in the hospital, you admitted they got your full name, your address, all that shit, and let them find out you've been a part of any illegal activities. Yeah, they taking your ass in. He said, "Fuck that. I'll put a band-aid on it. I'm out this bitch."
And tried to flee. They was eventually arrested after a brief chase on foot. Another team was also later arrested in connection with the shooting and also refused treatment. All 3 were later charged with suspicion of causing grievous bodily harm with intent for their involvement in the shooting. Not long after, 51st got payback and shot a member of Gxng in the head with a shotgun. Around 7 p.m. on August 22nd, 2017, police responded to a call about a shooting in the Acre Grove area. But again, when they arrived, they ain't find a victim at the scene. A witness said she heard 2 loud bangs, screaming, and tires screeching. She looked outside and saw a man who had just been shot in the head. At the time, he was alive, but bleeding everywhere. He then got in a car with 2 other men and they took off.
Hey, yo, these niggas, hold on. These niggas kind of built different though. Who you know get shot in the head and clean up the crime scene they self? Nigga got shot in the head with a shotgun and left the scene. These niggas is different. Hold on, man. I don't want no smoke with none of these niggas, boy. These niggas cleaning up each other's crime scenes.
At the time, he was alive, but bleeding everywhere. He then got in a car with 2 other men and they took off. According to authorities, the man later took himself to the hospital and was supposedly in stable condition. No arrests were made, but police believe it was linked to the triple shooting that happened back in May. The violence only continued after a fight at an Airbnb party that left one member of 51st dead after being stabbed 14 times. On February 17, 2018, a 16-year-old girl was having a birthday party at an Airbnb in Kensington. She promoted the party on Snapchat and invited around 50 people that she knew, but word got around town and members of rival gangs showed up. A group of dudes from 51st, including a 19-year-old known as Dottie, decided to crash the party. When they got there, they tried to force their way in and cause damage to the apartment. Some guests ended up hopping over a back wall to escape. They came to the party armed, and Dottie had a knife, but one of his friends had a gun. But somehow, they got Dottie by himself and chased him out of the party. He was chased down the road, but was stopped by a huge group. Once they caught up with him, they stabbed him a total of 14 times. 4 17-year-olds and 2 minors were later arrested in connection with the murder. After Dottie's death, members from 51st got in a stolen BMW.
Bro, that's a horrible fucking way to die. How many times did they stab him?
Once they caught up with him, they stabbed him a total of 14 times.
14 times, dog. Imagine a big group of niggas catching up to you and stabbing you to death 14 times, dog. That's a horrible fucking way to die, man. That's a horrible way to die.
But somehow, they got Dottie by himself and chased him out of the party. He was chased down the road, but was stopped by a huge group. Once they caught up with him, they stabbed him a total of 14 times. 4 17-year-olds and 2 minors were later arrested in connection with the murder. After Dottie's death, members from 51st got in a stolen BMW and drove around different hoods in London looking for whoever was responsible, but they couldn't find their target. So, when they returned to Camden, they went on a killing spree and took out 2 active gang affiliates. The first,
nigga, instant get backs like that? Hold on, these niggas don't waste time.
They returned to Camden, they went on a killing spree and took out 2 active gang affiliates. The first was a 17-year-old who went by the name AK, who was stabbed to death after being spotted by members of 51st outside an apartment building on Aldenham Street. About 90 minutes later, blocks away from where the first stabbing took place, a 20-year-old named Sadiq was also fatally attacked with a samurai sword on Bartholomew Road. The victim tried to—
With the who, my nigga?
Named Sadiq was also fatally attacked with a samurai sword on Bartholomew Road.
This nigga said with a samurai sword. They killed this man with a samurai sword? This shit tragic, man. RIP to everybody that's lost in this, man. Cause these some horrible ass deaths. Nigga, first off, where the hell did you get a samurai sword from? That shit is horrible, my guy. That's horrible.
An apartment building on Aldenham Street. About 90 minutes later, blocks away from where the first stabbing took place, a 20-year-old named Sadiq was also fatally attacked with a samurai sword on Bartholomew Road. The victim tried to escape in a nearby cab, but the driver refused to take him to safety, so he ended up getting stabbed by the gang multiple times.
Wow.
Police said the 2 stabbings were connected and were committed by the same group of men in the blue van. An 18-year-old was later charged with both murders. According to his mother, Sadiq tried to call her after he was attacked and left a message on her phone saying, "I'm wounded." She also said he was a good kid who was studying business at Middlesex University and worked part-time at Tesco.
Damn.
Sadiq wasn't the only son she had lost to the knife. Her son Muhammad, aka—
So he didn't have ties to the gang then. It was just wrong place, wrong time then. That's sad.
And worked part-time at Tesco. Sadiq wasn't the only son she had lost to the knife. Her son Muhammad, aka Mitch, was killed the previous year, and her nephew had also been stabbed to death in 2013.
That's sad.
They was all 20 years old at the time they died. Mitch was also killed in the beef between Active Gang and 51st. On the morning of September 4th, 2017, he ran into a dude from 51st named Eric Eckham, aka Flips, on Hampstead Road. They got into a fight, and Flips ended up pulling out a large kitchen knife, stabbing Mitch multiple times. An undercover cop saw it all happen and went and arrested Flips for the murder.
Nigga.
He was later convicted and sentenced to 17 years in prison for the crime. All these high-profile killings attracted the attention of the police, who started cracking down on both sides. But that ain't stopped the beef completely. The next attack came in 2019 when an 18-year-old from 51st was stabbed in the head after being ran over. The victim was alone walking by himself along Hampstead Road in Camden before being ambushed around 1 a.m. First, he was knocked over by a car. Then the dudes inside the car got out and started stabbing him repeatedly before getting back in and fleeing the scene. The victim was brought to the hospital with multiple serious injuries, including a stab wound to the head.
Nigga, I be thinking, here in the States, man, it be bad, man. Niggas be shooting and shooting and shooting. These deaths getting killed with samurai swords, stabbed 14 times. Imagine getting run over by a car. They get out and stab you in the head. On top of that, my guy, like, what?
The victim was brought to the hospital with multiple serious injuries, including a stab wound to the head. He survived, but the doctor said he sustained life-changing injuries. Active Gang continued looking for payback and allegedly committed another murder of a 51st affiliate later that year. On April 1st, 2018, a 22-year-old named Calvin Bungisa, aka C-Miz, was murdered by 4 hooded attackers in white masks. C-Miz was chased from Vickers Road to Grafton Road, where he was eventually killed. Surveillance footage from the area showed the suspects fleeing in a dark-colored VW and speeding through a traffic light. The footage also shows them driving to Court Gardens, where police found the car had been set on fire and abandoned. C-Miz's family is from the Congo and fled to the UK to escape the war in their native country. Active Gang dropped a song called Congo, featuring Arms and Too Smoky, which is allegedly a diss of C-Miz.
Wow.
The beef then reached a peak after the murder of a 16-year-old rapper affiliated with 51st named Culprit. On August 12, 2019, a group of 6 Active Gang members was cruising around Fitzrovia and Euston Road in 2 stolen cars. Around 10:30 p.m., Culprit and a group of friends left a restaurant on Bolsover Street. They must have seen the group coming because they ran away and hid in the building near Euston Road. About 30 minutes later, the 2 cars pulled up to an estate on Lumford Street and ran into the buildings looking for Culprit and the rest of the group. Culprit ended up getting cornered by 3 AG members and chased to Munster Square, where they caught up to him and stabbed him to death. Apparently, 2 people held him down, while the 3rd member stabbed him in the chest with a huge zombie knife. Both cars were later found set on fire in different locations.
Nigga, I don't know which death is worse, man. This man was held down. Imagine you being held down and stabbed to death. My God, what the fuck? I mean, I knew niggas over there was about it like that, but damn, these niggas is crazy as hell.
Apparently, 2 people held him down, while the 3rd member stabbed him in the chest with a huge zombie knife. Both cars were later found set on fire in different locations. Police quickly launched an investigation and used CCTV footage and cell data to track the killers. They eventually arrested a 19-year-old AG member named Arif Biomi in connection with the murder. He was later convicted and sentenced to life in prison, even though he was only the driver. Another AG member named Yusuf was also arrested for assisting an officer and sentenced to 3 years in prison after admitting to helping Arif set the 2 cars on fire. Culprit was an aspiring rapper and football player who had a bright future ahead of him, but he ended up getting caught in the gang life. Before his death, he was also thought to be involved in the murder of a 17-year-old named Nadeem Bilgin, who was stabbed to death earlier that year. Culprit's death was a huge loss to 51st, so they was thirsty for revenge. The incident set off a wave of violence that took the lives of multiple people over 5 days, including innocent bystanders. On September 8, 2019, a 24-year-old man named Wilson Valera was killed in a drive-by near Queens Crescent. Valera was from an entirely different neighborhood and had no affiliation to any gangs in the area, but members from Active Gang thought he was from 51st, so he was killed in the case of mistaken identity. Just 4 days later, a 25-year-old AG member named Asad Yarrow, aka Nuts, was killed outside the Camden tube station. He and his friend were spotted by members of 51st and attacked with machetes. Nuts died after getting stabbed in the neck. 2 men were later arrested in connection with the murder but released on bail. According to his family, before his death, Nuts had dreams of leaving the UK for Canada or to start a business in Somalia. But before that could happen, he became a victim to gang violence. The beef between 51st and Active Gang continues to this day with no end in sight. Many fans are just getting exposed to the war because of the rise of UK drill. The popularity of the music has also brought attention from the police, which has slowed down the beef a little. But who knows when another act of violence will lead to a retaliation and set the war off again.
The thing that I noticed throughout this video, they don't really show their face like that in these songs. They got bandanas over their face. They got full on, like, I don't know what the fuck they have, but they don't show their face in their music videos, which is low-key kind of smart when you think about it, man. But damn, it's a real war zone going on over there, man. RIP to everybody that was mentioned in this video that passed away. That's tragic, man. War in London, Active Gang versus 51st. Link down below in the description for y'all to check it out in its entirety, uninterrupted. Y'all new to the channel, y'all rock with me, want daily reaction videos, hit that subscribe button, follow me to the next video. I'll see y'all then. Thank you for watching MANIACITV. I'm out.